Here's a question. If a person committed no crime, led no rebellion, commanded no army, why would they be dragged into the street and brutally killed? She had no weapon, no followers, no power, only knowledge. She studied the stars, taught mathematics, encouraged people to think. And for some, that was dangerous. This is not a story about war. It is a story about a time when knowledge itself was seen as a threat, and her name was Hypatia of Alexandria. Fact 1. Her birth and early life. Hypatia of Alexandria was born around 360 CE in the ancient city of Alexandria, Egypt, one of the greatest centers of knowledge in the ancient world. Her father, Theon of Alexandria, was a respected mathematician and astronomer. Instead of preparing her for marriage, he educated her like a scholar. From a young age, Hypatia was trained in mathematics, astronomy, and philosophy, subjects rarely taught to women at the time. She did not inherit knowledge by chance. She was raised for it. Fact 2. Her teaching in her school. By adulthood, Hypatia of Alexandria was no longer simply a scholar. She had become one of the most influential teachers in Alexandria, the intellectual heart of the ancient world. Hypatia led the Neoplatonist school, one of the most respected philosophical traditions of the era. This was not a school that taught memorization. It taught how to think. Unlike most philosophers of her time, Hypatia did not teach behind closed doors. She lectured publicly. This alone was revolutionary. A woman teaching men openly, confidently, authoritatively was almost unheard of. Yet when Hypatia spoke, people listened. Her students came from everywhere. Wealthy elites, future government officials, pagans, Christians, Jews. In a city divided by religion and politics, her classroom was one of the few places where everyone sat together. What did Hypatia teach? She taught mathematics as logical discipline, astronomy as cosmic order, philosophy as a guide for life. For Hypatia, knowledge was not a weapon against belief, nor a tool for power. It was a search for truth. Historical sources describe her teaching style as calm and precise. She did not rely on emotion. She relied on reason. She encouraged students to question assumptions, challenge authority, demand evidence. Blind belief was not welcome in her classroom. And in a city growing more dogmatic by the year, this made her teachings dangerous. Hypatia's influence soon extended beyond education. City leaders and officials sought her advice. She held no political office, yet her opinion mattered. She was trusted as a neutral mind, someone guided by reason rather than ideology. But neutrality in times of conflict can be seen as a threat. The most dangerous thing about Hypatia was not her knowledge. It was that she refused to choose sides. She belonged to no faction, no religious camp, no political movement. She taught people to think for themselves. And history has shown, again and again, that independent minds are difficult to control. Hypatia's school was more than a place of learning. It was a quiet form of resistance. No swords, no armies, just ideas. And sometimes ideas are the most powerful force of all. Fact 3. Astronomy and scientific tools. Hypatia of Alexandria was not only a philosopher, she was a working scientist. She taught astronomy as something that could be measured, not guessed. Hypatia worked with scientific instruments, especially the astrolabe. With it, her students learned to calculate the positions of stars, track planetary movement, understand time through the sky. This was astronomy based on calculation, not superstition. She was also associated with the hydrometer, an instrument used to measure density. To Hypatia, measurement mattered, because what could be measured could be tested. She described the universe as ordered. Stars followed rules. Planets moved in patterns. The sky was not chaos, it was structure. This idea was powerful, because if the universe followed laws, Truth did not depend on belief, it depended on reason. And that made Hypatia dangerous. Fact 4. Her role in Alexandria's politics. Hypatia of Alexandria held no political office, yet she influenced politics deeply. City leaders and officials sought her advice, not because of power, but because of trust. Hypatia was known for her neutrality. She did not belong to any religious faction. She supported no political camp. In a city torn by conflict, this made her voice rare. She advised governors and administrators based on reason, not ideology. But neutrality in times of tension is often mistaken for opposition, and that made her dangerous. Fact 5. Why powerful people feared her. Hypatia of Alexandria was not feared because she held power. She was feared because she challenged it. Not with rebellion, not with violence, but with reason. Hypatia taught people to question authority, to demand evidence, to think independently, and that frightened those who ruled through belief and loyalty. Religious leaders feared her influence. Political figures feared her neutrality. She could not be controlled because she did not belong to any side. In times of tension, independent thinkers become dangerous, not because they attack power, but because they expose it. And for those in control, that was unacceptable. Fact 6. The rise of religious tension. By the late 4th and early 5th century, Alexandria was no longer a city of balance. It had become a city of factions. Christians, pagans, and Jews lived side by side, but trust between them was collapsing. Religious identity was turning into political power. Christian leaders were gaining influence rapidly. Pagan traditions were being pushed aside. Old philosophical schools were increasingly seen as threats, and Hypatia stood at the center of the shift. She represented the classical intellectual world, Greek philosophy, reason, debate, and inquiry. To rising religious authorities, this world looked dangerous, not because it attacked religion directly, but because it did not submit to it. Rumors began to spread that Hypatia used magic, that she corrupted minds, that she stood in the way of religious unity. None of it was proven, but proof was no longer required. As tensions grew, people stopped asking what is true. They began asking who is on our side, and Hypatia refused to answer that question. In a city where loyalty mattered more than reason, her silence became suspicious, and suspicion soon turned into hatred. Fact 7. The spread of rumors. The rumors about Hypatia did not begin loudly. They began in whispers. They said she practiced magic, that she corrupted minds, that she stood in the way of peace. There was no evidence, but evidence no longer mattered. Fear was spreading faster than truth. Fact 8. Chosen as the scapegoat. As tension grew in Alexandria, people needed someone to blame. Hypatia was the perfect target. She had no army, no faction, only influence. She became the silent scapegoat for political and religious conflict. And once blame had a name, the city felt relief. Fact 9. Her final days. Hypatia sensed the danger, but she did not flee. She did not stop teaching. She did not change her words. She believed reason could still prevail, but the city was no longer listening. The silence had turned hostile. Fact 10. Her death. One day, Hypatia was seized in the street. A mob dragged her to a church. There she was brutally killed. No trial followed. No punishment came. Her death marked not just the end of a life, but the end of an era of thought. Hypatia did not lead an army. She did not seek power. She only taught people how to think, and for that, she was silenced. Her story reminds us that ideas can be dangerous, and independent minds are never easy to control. If stories like this matter to you, stories of forgotten thinkers and hidden moments in history, support the channel, like the video, subscribe, And keep thinking.